You keep begging reality to match the people you invent in your mind. The fantasy always hurts more than the truth. Carl Jung, the Swiss psychiatrist who illuminated the shadowy corners of human nature. Behind that desperate wish is a restlessness that corrodes daily peace. He saw how our unlived lives leak out through disappointment. In Man and His Symbols, he warned about our blindness to this internal sabotage. Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. That line isn't vague poetry. It's a trap door creaking under every fractured expectation. You imagine someone changing, or loving you precisely as you want. You convince yourself that if they finally shift into place, so will your happiness. But the script is written elsewhere. You're chasing a specter. Each time life fails to match your inner script, pain blooms. You blame bad luck, or fate, or the cruelty of others. What you rarely question is the source of the script itself. Why does it even exist? That's the costliest silence. Now unravel the next thread. Why does your mind do this at all? In memories, dreams, reflections, he reveals the core split. Who looks outside, dreams. Who looks inside, awakes. Most never make that turn inward. There's a comfort in drafting perfect versions of others, investing them with hope you quietly fear you don't deserve. The habit is old, sometimes inherited, sometimes learned when reality turned cold too early. The ache isn't just about the present moment going wrong. It's about all the unloved parts of yourself you project onto someone else, begging them to hold what you cannot. Chasing a fantasy becomes a shield against facing your own shadow. Yet, with every disappointment, the shield rusts. Eventually, the hurt you try to dodge doubles back, sharper. You begin to notice opportunities lost, connections missed because the real person was never truly seen, only their potential. You start suspecting. The fantasy was always yours. What gets missed is not just real connection, but the rawness it takes to grow past longing. Left unchecked, this cycle hollows out your faith in yourself and others. It locks you out of your own awakening. And that's where the spiral tightens. The more you chase this invisible ideal, the more reality slips through your fingers. You hunger for certainty, crafting rules for love and trust that nobody knows they're breaking. Quietly, it erodes your grip on what's possible with another, because you're arguing with ghosts instead of meeting flesh. In these moments, the fantasy is no longer just a comfort. It's a cage. The more elaborate it gets, the lonelier you become inside it. Your mind does this not to punish, but to shield you from the unknown. Real connection is risk. Actual love is chaos. Wild, imperfect, never safe. The script pretends otherwise. You find yourself investing years, sometimes decades, waiting for someone to live up to the life you've written in your head. Anger brews, resentment festers. Each failed relationship feels like proof that something out there is broken, when it's the script inside that's been robbing you all along. Now the silent war becomes a dilemma. If you tear down the fantasy, what's left? Just you, exposed, unsure. Do you dare, or hide again? The turning point arrives in the split second you see your own hands holding the pen. Everything changes when you realize nobody else was ever bound to your invisible contract. Here, at the center of the wound, the only honest question is, are you ready for a reality that might not comfort you, but could finally meet you? He wrestled with this in The Undiscovered Self. The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. That single line is atomic. Here is your real crossroad. The fantasy protects you from rejection, but it also keeps you from being chosen by another and by yourself. The most painful intimacy is this: to let the fantasy rot so that the real can survive. It is not about lowering your standards. It is about risking disappointment for something alive, something mutual. That risk, raw, shuddering, and undesigned, is your only shot at honest connection. For most, this moment never comes. For a few, it is the whole point of living. But what happens after you drop the script? With nothing to hide behind, discomfort rushes in. At first, the world looks hostile. Every irritating trait in others stands out, more abrasive than before. Yet slowly, the absence of fantasy lets something else emerge, a mirror. In memories, dreams, reflections, this confrontation is laid bare. Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. You start to notice the patterns that once ran on autopilot. The annoyance you feel reveals your old, unspoken needs. Suddenly, their flaws are not about them. They're about the pieces of you still asking for permission to exist. This is not a gentle process. Letting go of fantasies means letting yourself be vulnerable. You may panic when another person turns out to be unpredictable or imperfect. You might grieve the safety of an imagined future that will never arrive. Yet here is where relief creeps in. Without expectations, real contact is finally possible. A quiet conversation becomes unexpectedly deep. Someone laughs in a way you didn't script, and for once, you are fully there with them, not off stage, rewriting lines. The relationships that form in this raw space are lighter, more supple. There is less room for blame, more for curiosity. What thrives here is not certainty, but acceptance, the only genuine path to intimacy. In letting your fantasy die, you don't lose love. You make it real. You no longer bend people into your story's shapes. Instead, you get to watch new stories emerge, together. The wisdom unlocks itself again in memories, dreams, reflections. I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. The past, with all its failed blueprints, no longer claims you. You are free to choose, every day, how much of yourself you actually bring to each encounter. When fantasy lets go, so does resentment. All that's left is you, unfinished, willing, and truly available. When we let go of fantasy, we uncover the beauty of genuine connection. Embracing imperfection opens the door to authentic intimacy. If this resonated with you, subscribe to the channel and comment below. What part of your story are you ready to rewrite?